How to get smoking hot deals from real estate agents with zero marketing costs. That's the topic of today's show. But before we jump in, if you have not been to our site, check out nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there I've got a gift for you. If you are trying to do your first deal, or if you're trying to do your next monster, juicy 50K or 100K wholesale deal, you got to go there and download the script. This is the exact same script that I wish I had when I first got started. The exact script that I've used to lock up over 1,300 deals, and the script that I've used to train hundreds of the world's best investors to do wholesale deals in pretty much all 50 states. This thing is proven. It works. I don't care if you're a beginner or you think you're seasoned. This thing will put more money in your pocket, and it's my gift to you absolutely free. So go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script, and you're going to know exactly what to say word for word to a seller to find out if you've got a deal or a dud. So real excited for today's show because we're going to talk about how to get big, fat, juicy deals from agents with pretty much no money out of pocket. This sounds so awesome. So I'm going to tell you a quick story before I jump in today's show. But actually, this was actually inspired by a question. So, by the way, thank you so much for sending in your questions. You could always email those questions to support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, or you can send them to my Instagram account at Todd Toback, TODD-TOBACK. So let's go ahead and hear this question word for word and then attack it.
Hey, it's Chris. Things are great. I'm actually going to start pursuing like realtors, basically agents, to get referrals, to just kind of develop that network. And I just want to find out from you, like in the current environment in real estate, like what would your strategy be on that? Would you text, call to kind of build that relationship, and what would that initial dialogue look like?
So great question. I think it's Chris. Chris, first of all, I'm glad things are going great. I think earlier on this question, Chris had been doing deals and growing his business and is adding this new marketing channel. So congratulations for all your success. So I'm going to talk about this. This is actually a two-part question. I'm going to answer the second part later on in this episode. But the key word that you said is referral network. Okay, referral network. So back when I first got started doing this, it was called Agent Deal Domination. We had hired our first acquisition specialist to go direct to seller. And we said, hey, one of my cash buyers was buying directly from agents, and his name was Brock. So we actually learned from one of our cash buyers, and he had actually hired someone to go out to work with real estate agents. And so I had, actually it was a listener of this show. It was a different capacity, but one of our listeners said, hey, Todd, I want to come partner with you and I want to come work with you. And so we hired Noah was his name, to focus on this strategy exclusively. And so that's a hint on the success here. And so one of the things, our goal here was to develop a network, right? A deep rooted system of agents that would send us deals month after month after month. And that's the key, because it requires a little bit of consistency and a little bit of patience. But oh boy, the roots are deep and the fruit is sweet. Is this worth it? Okay, so what we had Noah do, and this is still how I recommend this, okay? We had Noah get a list of all the pending fixers, handyman specials that were on the market. So what are pendings and what are handyman specials? So if you look on the MLS, the multiple listing service, this is where all real estate agents do their business, is they get listings of new listings that come on the market, or something goes pending, meaning that that property has gone into contract with somebody else, right? Means it was on the market, they signed a contract, they came to agreement, and then that property is waiting to close. It is pending to close. Okay, now Todd, you're like, why in the world would you do this? Okay, watch out. So we had Noah call all the pendings and all the handyman specials and all the TLCs. Now, those words that I've used, they put those keywords into the MLS. And so you work with a real estate agent to get these. So how do you get access to this? Well, first of all, I'd find an agent and just ask them, say, hey, can you send me these listings right here? And send me a list of all the pendings and all the agent's information. They can actually export that from the multiple listing service on Excel or Google Sheets, and send that to you. And the cool thing about that, it has the agent's phone number right in the listing, right? So if you export it, you got it right there, information, the agent's name, the property address. It's so clear. So what do you do when you get this? What you're doing right now is to build a pipeline. Okay, we're going to develop a pipeline of properties that are going to fall out of escrow, right? Or fall out of closing if you're in another state. So what does that mean? That means that they got into contract and for whatever reason, the seller backed out. Maybe they paid too much. Maybe the inspection didn't come out. And why is this so powerful? This is so powerful is because agents make promises all day to their clients, right? We're going to sell it fast. We're going to sell it for top dollar. This is going to be easy. This buyer is good. You're going to love your check coming your way. And so imagine being a seller and 21 days later, after you go into contract, you're counting your money. You got your truck packed, and all of a sudden your agent calls you and says, sorry, the buyer's backing out. The inspection is way worse than they thought, and they don't want to do the deal. Man. So now they are at a low, right? They thought they were counting their money. The seller was counting their money. And now you can be the knight in shining armor. So how do you do this? So Noah, we had him call all the pendings and said, hey, this is Noah. I was calling about your property on 321 Main Street, right? I see that it's pending. Does this transaction look like it's going to go through? And then listen, they'll say, yeah, no, maybe it's shaky. Say, great. I'll tell you what, I'd love to be a backup. If this deal doesn't fall through, right, will you call me and I'll make an offer? Is that okay? Great. Yeah, no, that would be perfect. Okay, good. And is it okay if I follow up with you every couple of weeks? Yep. Awesome. Okay. Mr. Agent, do you have an email address? I'd love to follow up with you and tell you a little bit about myself and the other kind of properties that I buy. Boom. So now you got the agent's email, you got the agent's cell phone number, send an email, follow up, and now Noah followed up every 2 weeks. Imagine you call 200 of those, which is easy to do, right? You call 20 people a day over a month. A week. That's 120 people a week over a month. That's almost 500 people a month, right? 500 agents every single month. Are you telling me that some of those transactions aren't going to fall out? Because they are. And I can tell you that we had Noah in that position, right? His first year with no experience, didn't know how to close a door, okay? Noah brought us about $400,000 net, $400,000 net in our pocket the first year that we've done that. And we've done this every single year since then, okay? And that's the beauty of this, okay? So that's my favorite way to do it. Now, there's a second thing that you can do, but don't even think about doing the second until you do the first, okay? The second is you can get a list of real estate agents and you can buy that. And I think, by the way, everyone who buys agent deal domination, I'm going to talk about that here in a second, okay, can actually get that with the course, okay, agent deal domination, but you can actually go and buy real estate agent lists online for a few $100 for your county. I would get that list. And then what you can do is you can actually text that list every couple of weeks. So check into your local laws and see what's legal and all that, right? But you can text them and say, hey, Barbara, right? This is Joe Smith. Do you have any properties that I can make an offer on this week? ... Got to be a deal. The key word is got to be a deal. Send that out. Okay. Now, if you send out 2,000 texts, you're probably going to get an 8 to 10% response rate. And same conversation. Great. Do you have a property? And some of them might bring you a deal right then and there, right? If not, though, build that relationship. Here's what I'm going to say. Very rarely is it going to be the deal that you called about, right? You are just building a relationship, and that's just an excuse to call. But you now become the investor who buys problem properties, properties that fall out of escrow, properties that have tenant problems, properties that have too many repairs, right? Someone who's willing to come in and close fast. Very, very, very important. You want to be known for that. By the way, if you want to know, I have a full training program on how to do these big, juicy deals with agents. You can listen to this podcast and get a ton of free information. But if you want the step-by-step program on how we do that, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/agents. nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/agents. And it's got everything step-by-step in there. Go there and check it out. All right. So Now that you have the pipeline and you're doing the follow-up, and the key word there is follow-up. Remember, very rarely is it going to be the property that you called about, right? You have to be there. Agents have no memory. Zero, okay? They will not remember you, right, over a long period of time. So you have to keep following up and reinforcing. Keyword is reinforcing that you're the guy or gal, okay? Important. Reinforce that you're the guy or the gal, and you have to keep doing that. I've had agents that I've bought a half a dozen properties from, and we didn't call them for 6 months, and they went and did a deal with another investor. Not because they were angry, not because they were invictive, but because we stopped following up. Ugh, I feel sick to my stomach. So don't let that happen to you. Okay, so we have a second part of this question, and I love it, right? I'm just going to go ahead and play it and let the music speak for itself.
Is that something you could outsource? Like, could you have your VA reach out, or do you think this, because you're trying to develop that relationship, you should be the person actually calling and they should hear your voice?
So, how am I going to answer this, right? Well, I think, the question is, Todd, should I expand myself? Should I hire the team to do it, or should I hire a virtual assistant, or should I be the one making the calls here? So I'm going to say one thing off the bat, and that is you should not hire a virtual assistant to do this position. Does not mean that you shouldn't hire somebody. By virtual assistant, I'm assuming, hopefully rightfully so, that you mean someone overseas, right? Could be someone from the Philippines, or someone who is not a native English speaker with a thick accent. I have nothing against people with a thick accent who are not native English speakers. They're great. We have multiple people in our team from various countries. However, part of the job is communicating and sounding like you are stateside in this in wholesaling, right? Getting that person's attention and trust is going to be very important, right? So in this role, your language, right, your ability to communicate is a skill. It's a part of the job. So I'm going to highly recommend that you not use a virtual assistant or someone with a non-native American accent. Very important. The next part of the question, should you do it or hire somebody else in the States to do it, right? Or Canada? And my recommendation here is it depends, okay? If you are currently a solopreneur and you're going to do this yourself, great. Do it yourself and make that plan and execute. However, I find, and of course, this is how I recommend to many of my private clients who are thinking about whether they should hire somebody. If after listening to this episode, and maybe you've bought Agent Deal Domination, you could check that at nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/agents, okay? After you check that out and you do not execute, you're not making calls within 2 weeks, right? That means you need to hire somebody. Simple as that, right? If I'm not doing something, it means that I'm procrastinating and somebody else needs to be doing this job. And so my recommendation is, hey, either do it yourself or don't, but make sure it gets done. I could tell you that I had done deals with agents a couple of times, on my own through building relationships and speaking in escrow companies, but I did not get real agent deal flow until I hired someone for this position. And once I did it, and that was their 100% focus, and they weren't focused, oh man, the money just started coming in the door, right? I find teamwork makes the dream work. And by the way, if you are interested in building a team, you could also check out more about working with me on a one-on-one basis. And by the way, that opportunity is shrinking fast. I'm not very sure how much longer I'm going to be doing that. So go ahead and check out nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/coaching. nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/coaching. Okay. My last part of this is calling agents is a phenomenal way to do business. But my last recommendation there is you have to, again, give it your 100% focus. And that doesn't mean your whole entire company needs to focus on that, but it needs to be just one person. That's their entire job in one area. And it's going to be very, 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 very successful. I will tell you, just to end the episode on a high note, I did one of my best deals on an agent deal. An agent brought me, I bought it for $180,000. They brought it to me and I sold it for $680,000. Okay, it was a few years later, right? So I had a little bit of appreciation there. But man, the fruit on that one, right, was sweet. The relationship, the roots were deep, okay, and the fruit was sweet. So don't forget to download the script at nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. If you're interested in learning more about agent deal domination, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/agent. Other than that, love your questions. Send them to support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com or hit me up on Instagram at Todd Toback, and I will talk to you on the next episode.